I'll quote Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase, who in the fall said, Bitcoin is a fraud, and in January launched a Bitcoin fund. So where are the opportunities for entrepreneurs, given where we are today?
You know, right now we use ICOs as shorthand for company equity. Basically, we're talking about the tokenization of company equity. That's good, that's bad. Sometimes cases like utility tokens, it can be interesting for a company's growth. Security tokens, it can be interesting as well too, but I'm far more interested in what comes next, and that's the tokenization of everything else.
If we have more people who can actually implement this technology, the more valuable it will be. Now, blockchain technology is also inspiring disruption in the industries of supply chain, digital media rights management, of pharmaceutical supply chain also, among other things.
Is it too soon to regulate, or should we do something now, civically, for blockchain and Bitcoin?
I happen to believe that it is too early to do anything at all. That we don't know enough about a use case that makes sense in our current economy and within the next 2 or 3 years. Until the Chicago Board of Trade and Options Exchange allows us to trade in futures contracts on these coins, I don't see it as being a legitimized form of currency.
If you look at what regulation has really done to this whole space, it's just created all these terminologies that nobody really understands. And all of these definitions don't mean anything until, there's a real use case around those.
The biggest issue is we can't even decide what a blockchain is. I could talk to each one of you and we'll all come up with a different definition, and none of you may be wrong. The fact is it's an entirely unsettled technology.
The technology of blockchain has been around, as Jim can mention, 20 plus years, right? And this is something that's not new, but we're learning how to deal with it when it comes to cryptocurrency. So I think you'll continue to see some of that until we get a shining example of what the world says, okay, this is great.
There are things that are changing dramatically within the technology itself. Fundamentally, the technology is going to be different moving forward. Now, how do you take advantage of that if you're an incumbent company? Or how do you take advantage of that, seeing that the landscape is so rapidly changing and you're a startup company?
It doesn't make sense for everyone. Blockchain may not help you at all, but in those few cases where it will, I believe it's always a good opportunity to take on a POC project, see how this works, crunch some numbers, make sure that this is something that you would invest in.
There's other solutions being built, and we have to remember that blockchain is competing with all of these as well too. There's a race, and we need to recognize that as well too. This decentralized versus centralized, whatever model you want to use, there's only a finite amount of time before the world is digitized, before we're all existing on some type of system.